Thanks for tuning in to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Incorporated. Today we have a special guest instructor, my brother from Harris International Association. He's a second degree black belt under Professor Harris, and would like to welcome Sensei Neil Berry to the channel. Neil, thanks you for your time.
Thanks for having me.
What do you got in store for us today?
Today we're going to work on some turtle escapes.
Excellent, I look forward to it. Thank you.
So what we're doing today with turtle escapes is we'll start from our position with somebody on top of us. Instead of worrying about coming from our back to our knees and whatnot, we'll just start right from the position. So first things first, we got to try and worry about our base and protecting ourselves when we're in turtle position. Alright, so knees nice and wide apart. Elbows are going to be on our thighs, not necessarily on the inside, but on top of our thighs, and our hands are going to be protecting our necks, at least one by the lapel or by the side of our neck. So as we're down nice and low, our partner's going to come in and they're going to be on top of us. Their goal when they're on top is to get this knee as deep in as possible, and that is something that I don't want to happen. So my goal is to block that. But for the sake of our escape today, we're going to allow them to get their knee in and be super deep. The first escape we're going to look at today is our trap and roll. Now traditionally when people do the trap and roll, they teach it as a grab, a hold, a straighten the leg, and then they roll sideways, which does work and it can work great. My little take on this escape is, one, I like to trap with my elbow and hug it in deep, and two, I want to put my head underneath my opponent. Alright, so my head is going to come underneath and between their legs, and my shoulder is going to follow. My goal is to actually get my shoulder to the mat. Alright, so that arm is deep, we trap, I bring my head in towards his knees, and my shoulder comes down to the mat, and I roll my opponent over my shoulders for a much smoother escape. Right into side control. Alright, let's look at that escape one more time. Partner has their knee in deep, they have good control over us. Some people like to grab this forearm and hold on to that forearm when they're in top turtle. Some people just insert their arm. Other people will also do a seatbelt grip. So there's lots of different grips they're doing. All I'm worried about is whether this arm is committed underneath me or not. If the arm is committed, this escape will come into play. So we're trapping, squeezing our elbow in tight. It's not enough to just hold on with your hand. I want to squeeze and trap it hard with my elbow so that arm is stuck. My head goes underneath his hips, between his knees, and my shoulder touches the mat, and my partner rolls over top of me nice and smooth, and I don't get crushed in the transition, leading myself to whatever hold down you prefer. Alright, now we go for that escape, partner on top counters. So partner on top again, they have their knee in, they're committed with that arm. I trap, I bring my head underneath my opponent with my shoulder following, but he knows the escape is coming, so he tries to move his weight away from me and sprawls back a bit. So I move, he gets that weight away, and now I'm able to pop out the back and get on top for my top turtle position. Alright, let's see that escape again. Partner's in deep. I trap, I go for my escape, but he sprawls away. That gives us a lot of space now between our hips to pop my arm out and escape and get up into our own top turtle position, whatever you like. Alright, and escape number 3. Partner is on top of us, but now that arm's not committed. Some people will put their hands on the tricep, the hip, or it's just floating. Alright? So I have nothing to grab onto for my roll. So I'm actually going to try and bring myself away a little bit. Now, if there's a lot of weight on us here, careful with this escape because you can slam your shoulder into the mat. We don't want that. I hurt my shoulder doing that, so be careful. I'm trying to move myself away a little bit. My inside arm, so the one that's closest to my opponent, is going to drive under my armpit. My head and my shoulder follow. And I'm trying to do a forward roll as compact as possible. And bringing my outside leg around in a big circle. My inside leg catches their ribs, so I find my opponent so I can catch him in my guard. And finish with whatever position you like. Again, this is the third escape. Partner's not as committed with that arm, so I have nothing to trap here. Move myself away. My arm drives under my armpit, my head and shoulder follows, and I roll as compact as possible, catching with that inside leg, catching him in guard. Sometimes what happens in that transition, this arm doesn't end up between my legs, and we end up falling into a triangle position. All right, escape number 4 is a transition back into a number 1. So we're in turtle, partner's not committed, so I go for my third escape. I walk away, but they recommit. That arm is recommitting because he felt me moving away. That now gives me that arm to trap. Head and shoulder comes back into my opponent, underneath his legs, and we tuck and roll. Back to our hold down number 1, side control, whichever control you prefer. All right, let's see that one more time. Partner on top is not committed. So I go for my number 3 escape. He recommits his arm in deep. I trap, I come back underneath, and I roll my partner over top and ending back up in whatever position you prefer from side control. So there you have it. There's 3 escapes there, and they all work back into each other. Escape number 1 leads into escape number 2, which leads into escape 3, which leads all the way back into number 1. So everything's trying to work together. All right? So what we're going to do now is Steve's just going to feed me a little bit, and I'm going to feel his energy and what he's giving me, and I'll try to escape. And Steve here is just being a good partner. We're just trying to feel what the person on top has given us and trying to, instead of trying to force something. All right? Ready to play? Yep.
I can see how I can't block. I mean, I can block maybe 1, 2 of your escapes. I leave myself open for another one, and it's bound to happen, putting things in combinations. I'm going to learn lots from this. I know what I'm going to be working on here for the next little bit, so I thank you very much.
Perfect.
And for everyone else out there, practice both sides. We will look forward to seeing you on the mat soon.